Hey guys, so here's the notes for 3.2, day 1. We're going to be talking about properties of rational exponents. Okay, so these properties we've seen when it was just regular exponents. We're going to apply it to the same thing here. So the first one is we call the product of powers. Now remember, you don't need to memorize the property name. You just need to remember how to use these properties. Okay, when we have the same base and we're multiplying, remember we add the exponents. So the example I have here is 5 to the 1/2 times 5 to the 3/2. So we need to add the fractions. Remember, if they have the same denominator, then all you have to do is add the numerators and then simplify. So when we do 1/2 plus 3/2, that gives us 4/2, and of course that simplifies to 2. And make sure you evaluate when it's a number, so 5 squared is 25. Now, while during these notes, especially while you're writing this, if you need to pause to write it down, make sure you do so. Okay, power of a power. Remember, when you have the base is 2 one power and then raised to another, you need to multiply those exponents. So here we have a to the n, which equals a to the n times n. So when we look at 3 to the 5/2, it's being raised by 2, we're going to multiply. Now here, when we multiply by fractions, basically, we multiply the numerators and multiply the denominators. So we do 5 times 2, which gives us 10, and then 2 times 1, which gives us 2. So 10 over 2 gives us 5, so we have 3 to the 5th power, and that gives us 243. So make sure you evaluate. Now, as a power of a product, we have 2 different bases. It's being raised to the same power, and then it becomes a to the n times b to the n. So let's look at 16 times 9, and they're both being raised to the 1/2. So we have 16 to the 1/2 times 9 to the 1/2. Now remember, anything with the 1/2, that can be rearranged. So if I have 16 to the 1/2, that can be rewritten as the square root of 16. Because 16 is our base, 1 is the exponent or the power, and 2 is our root. So we have the square root. So here, if we have 16 to the 1/2, that's really doing the square root of 16, which gives us 4. And 9 to the 1/2, okay, that means that the square root of 9, which gives us 3. So we have 4 times 3, which gives us 12. Okay, negative exponent. So don't forget, that means anytime you have a negative exponent, you need to move it. So if it's already in the numerator, move it to the denominator, and vice versa. So we have 36 to the negative 1/2. So we have 1 over 36 to the 1/2. Remember, 1/2 represents a square root. So the square root of 36 is 6. So we have 1/6. And then the zero exponent property, anytime we have, an exponent that is 0 is just equals 1. So take any number, take it to the 0 power, it's 1. Okay, next is our quotient of power. So we have the same base and we're dividing, we subtract the exponents. So here we have 4 to the 5/2 over 4 to the 1/2. So keep your base exactly the same. We're going to do 5/2 minus 1/2. So notice they have the same denominator. That means we're only going to subtract the numerator. So 5 minus 1 gives us 4. 4/2 simplified is 2. 4 squared gives us 16. And the last one, when we have 2 different bases but raised to the same power, we distribute that. So 27 over 64 is raised to the 1/3. Now, when we think about 1/3, that is basically saying the cube root. So the cube root of 27, so remember we really talked about cube roots or perfect cubes last unit in our polynomial. So cube root of 27 is going to be 3, and then the cube root of 64 is 4. So then we have 3/4 as our final answer. Okay, make sure you watch the next part. We're actually going to use these properties to evaluate or to simplify our problems.